Now you can listen to Wine and Dine Radio while shopping at the grocery store or your neighborhood wine merchant. Wine and Dine Radio can be heard using your wireless internet on your cell phone. You're listening to iWineRadio. iWineRadio is a production of Food Tastes Better with Wine on the web at iWineRadio.com. Hey guys, I thank you for listening to iWineRadio, and we are still the only wine channel on iTunes Radio. If you go look under iTunes radio icon and scroll down to News and Talk directory, and it's listed alphabetically, click on that and the stream comes up immediately. iWineRadio.com, where you can find links to individual guests. And if anyone's interested in advertising or becoming an underwriter or sponsor, please contact us at iWineRadio.com. We really, really appreciate your support. The more support we get, the more conversations I can have with fascinating people around the world, including you. If you have a story to tell that you'd like to share on iWineRadio, go to iWineRadio.com and contact us, and we'll go from there.
Hello. My name is Alessandro Bindocci, and I am the winemaker and export manager of Tenuta Il Poggione winery in Montalcino. You can find more information about our wines and our winery on www.montalcinoreport.com or tenutailpoggione.it. Bye.
Sono Fabrizio Bindocci, General Manager e winemaker della Tenuta Il Poggione. Potete trovare più informazioni sui nostri vini su www.tenutailpoggione.it.
Welcome to Wine and Dine Radio. I'm Lynn Creelo-Chamberlain.
Hi there, this is Andreas Larsson.
Hi, this is John Capon.
My name is Madhur Jaffrey.
Hi, my name is Heike Platter. I'm from the Alto Adige region, or Südtirol.
Hi, my name is Paul Dolan. I am absolutely passionate about growing organic and biodynamic fruit for our wines.
Hello, my name is Lorena Garcia.
Hello, my name is Fritz Maytag.
This is Joyce Locke. I'm the author of Foodie Fight.
Hi, this is Lydia Mandave, founder of 29 Cosmetics.
Cheers, this is Rob Barnett, CEO and founder of VinVillage.com, where wine lovers connect.
Today we have the unbelievable pleasure of speaking with father and son team of Tenuta Il Poggione in Sant Angelo and Colle Montalcino. We're going to be focusing on Brunello and Rosso di Montalcino, and a sister line that is called Mazzoni, and there is a Rosso di Toscana and a Pinot Grigio. Delicious, delicious wines. We're going to begin this first half of the program by talking to Alessandro Bindocci, who is son, and he is talking to us from Chicago today. The wines are imported by Terlato, and of course Terlato is based in Chicago. And then we're going to be making a phone call to Brunello and calling his father, who's the president of the Brunello Consortium. So let's start by bringing on Alessandro, winemaker and export manager for Tenuta Il Poggione. And as I asked before, he travels to the United States 3 or 4 times a year. But Alessandro, you also travel to Europe to be the ambassador for Tenuta Il Poggione, and also to Japan and China, to Asia?
Absolutely. Good morning. Yes, I travel as much as I can when, of course, it's not the time for the harvest or other focal times in at the winery to promote Il Poggione and the Montalcino wines. That's something I really enjoy to do, and especially being the winemaker, having the contact with the people that actually enjoy our wines is excellent for me. It's very important. I know this way I can translate the feedback into the winemaking. As you know, as all the winemakers, our judgment on the wine is always is never the most objective one. They are like our children.
Yes, yes.
So it's important to get that feedback from the people that enjoy our wines.
I think that I would imagine other people do this, but I've never read this before, and I want to ask you about this. This so fascinating. 21st century, you could be, traveling around the world, and you're still able to check in on your wines day to day, vat by vat, by using your smartphone.
Absolutely. That's something that we introduced in our winery, and a new winery that we built in 2004. We are definitely a traditional winery, but we're very, we're always conscious about technologies, and it's really important nowadays. So we've introduced a system in our fermenting tanks where every tank can be monitored closely, or the parameters can be changed, either with a computer or with a smartphone.
And are the majority of the vats these large oak tanks and not necessarily the stainless steel, which, are you talking about oak vats?
No, in this case for the fermentation. The fermentation we use stainless steel tanks that are completely computerized. Whereas, of course, for the aging we use the traditional large oak barrels. Okay. Now, for the wines are distributed worldwide, of course, and I would guess that there is not huge production because land is limited, and so therefore, for people want to learn more about, in addition to tasting the wines, but if they want to learn more about what's going on in Montalcino, since May of 2008, you launched a blog called Montalcino Report. Talk to us about that blog. Absolutely. There was a time when, I was looking, just started to work with the winery not too long before. As a passionate about wine, I look around, what other colleagues in the world do, and almost every region of the world, it was possible to be online and to see the harvest report, what was happening during the harvest or before or after the harvest in other regions of the world. Easily online, was easily accessible, but in Montalcino, in my region, in my hometown, I couldn't find such information, and so I decided, I could do that myself. So I decided to do this blog, Montalcino Report, which is not strictly a blog about Il Poggione, but it's mainly a blog about the region, about Montalcino, about Brunello, about what's happening in the vineyards, in the cellar, in different times of the year, and also what's happening in the town. So it's really, something that I felt like we didn't have in Montalcino, and I thought it was, important to provide, those thousands of Brunello lovers around the world, with updated information.
And right now on the blog, you're talking about the fact that spring is starting, the vines are starting to bud, and you're doing some tilling under. And there was an expression. Of course, it was translated, so maybe the translation wasn't right. But I've never heard of silly plowing.
Yes, that's sovescio, and that, of course, when we put the grass, into the ground, and we work deeply the soil, so that we put all these organic material, and which is, of course, all the grass that we have every other row, and moisture into the soil, and that's a beautiful source of energy for the vines.
But where does the word silly come from? Or maybe that's just not a good translation on Google that I was using.
Yeah, no, I looked in a technical dictionary that I would normally use. I couldn't find a better translation. It's called sovescio in Italian. It's a procedure used for many other crops, and that's when all this grass is put into the soil.
It's turned over, and by choice, you prefer to use all natural products in the vineyard, and so I would guess in the winery as well. And why do you make that conscious choice?
We are lucky where we are in Sant Angelo in Colle. It's a very favorable location because we are south-facing. We are only 20 kilometers away from the nearest mountain, the Mount Amiata, and 30 kilometers from the seaside. So the climate is very warm and dry, and there is never need for products, for chemicals in the vineyards. So we use, for the treatment of the vineyards, we use only copper and sulfur, which are, of course, very natural. we never have to do, since my father started working at the winery in 1976, we never had to do antibiotic treatment, which is amazing. There was no need for it.
Yeah.
So that was great for us. And also, we as we have an amazing source of byproducts from the winemaking and from the olive oil making, and these are all used as natural fertilizers in the soil.
Okay.
Nowadays I think these are choices very important to do for the environment. And in fact, actually, as another thing that we studied last year, we have installed solar panels in the roof of our cellar.
Wow.
So that's, allow us to be, on average, 100% self-sufficient energy-wise.
Wow.
And that's amazing, and these are important choices to do nowadays. It's for the environment. You see, the summers are always warmer, the harvest is always earlier. That's it's something that the planet is talking to us. So we need to respect and use as much natural things as we can. And of course, the sunlight. We are lucky that we have sunlight all day, and it's always available. So why not using it to provide energy for our cellar?
Is electricity expensive in Sant Angelo? I know that it's a philosophy choice, but like where I live, the electricity is very, very expensive. Is it? Do you ever talk about that with other people as you're traveling around the world?
It is expensive, yes. We have been talking about that, and of course, we are talking about our computerized tanks, and you can imagine, with all the machineries and all the tanks working during the harvest. And nowadays we produce about 600,000 barrels of wine a year, and so that's a good amount, and of course it takes a lot of energy. So it's useful to use natural sources like the sun.
And does the 600,000 bottles per year, does that include the Tenuta Il Poggione Brunello and also the brand Mazzoni wines?
That is only for the Il Poggione wines. So we are talking about Brunello Riserva, Rosso di Montalcino, and also some IGT wines that we make.
Oh, wow. Are the IGT wines brought into the United States?
Not at the moment. We produce a similar blend to the Mazzoni Rosso, which is a blend of Sangiovese and Merlot. We make rosé out of Sangiovese.
Okay.
And we also make a Vermentino Chardonnay blend.
Oh, wow.
As a white wine.
Oh, wow. I bet that's very good and well received. We're almost out of time for this first segment before we call your father, but I have a quick question here. Is it traditional for Pinot Grigio to be aged on the lees?
First of all, Pinot Grigio is not the most traditional grape in Tuscany.
Right.
In fact, our Pinot Grigio is sourced in Tuscany on the coast, on the Tuscan coast. But we wanted to make, first of all, it's a cold fermented Pinot Grigio, so that we can keep the freshness high. We do 25 days of fermentation. And then, of course, keeping on the lee, you improve all the flavors and all the aromas, make it more complex.
In all the Pinot Grigios I've interviewed about before, that just struck me as being unique. Okay, so we're going to go to a short break here, and when we come back, we're going to continue the conversation with Alessandro Bindocci, but we're also going to be talking to his father, Fabrizio Bindocci, director and winemaker, and also president of the Brunello Consortium. We'll be right back, and we thank you for listening to Wine and Dine. Well, we're back and we're talking about Brunello di Montalcino wines today with the director and winemaker of Tenuta Il Poggione, Fabrizio Bindocci, and his son Alessandro, who is winemaker and export manager. And Fabrizio, the father, is also the current president of the Brunello Consorzio del Vino Brunello di Montalcino, which is the appellations trade association founded in 1967. And let me give you a heads up, if you are interested in learning all the specific regulations about the producers, about the appellation geographically, etc., you can actually go to the Consorzio's website. We will have a link up for you, and you can download an app onto your phone, which would also facilitate driving around if you're going to be visiting in the area as well. So let us start by saying thank you, Fabrizio Bindocci, for joining us today on Wine and Dine.
Grazie Fabrizio per essere con noi nel programma Wine and Dine radiofonico.
Bene, ringrazio io per essere stato invitato a partecipare a questo programma.
Okay.
Thank you for inviting me to take part of this radio show.
Okay, Alessandro, I really didn't talk to you, and so let's talk to your father, please, by asking what defines Brunello wines, because there are people that are growing Sangiovese grape all over the world, but what makes Brunello so special?
Cos'è che definisce il Brunello? Perché ci sono molti che coltivano il Sangiovese in tante parti del mondo, ma cos'è che rende il Sangiovese Brunello per legge?
Allora, il Brunello di Montalcino è una denominazione che si può, dove si produce un vino. Il Brunello di Montalcino è delimitato al solo comune di Montalcino.
So first of all, the region, because the production of Sangiovese for the Brunello di Montalcino must be Sangiovese must be grown only within the municipality of Montalcino.
So, un vino prodotto con sole uve Sangiovese 100%.
And of course, it is a wine made with 100% Sangiovese grapes.
And are the clones or the clone of the Sangiovese used to make Brunello different than Sangiovese used to make other Sangiovese-based wines in other regions in Italy?
I cloni o il clone di Sangiovese usato a Montalcino è diverso e unico rispetto agli altri cloni utilizzati per produrre vini a base di Sangiovese in altre zone d'Italia?
No, all'inizio nella nostra azienda abbiamo, si parla degli anni 50, fatto una selezione massale all'interno dell'azienda ed sono stati selezionati molteplici cloni. Dopo ogni azienda ha individuato dei cloni non solo aziendali ma anche cloni venduti sul mercato, e pertanto anche altre aziende hanno questi cloni.
So not necessarily, there's not only one specific clone of Sangiovese, but however in the 1950s at Il Poggione we did a muscle selection of clones amongst our vineyards, where we picked clones that we currently use whenever we plant new vines. But then other wineries in the region and also outside of Montalcino, they made their own selections of clones, either within their property or also by purchasing clones that were available in the market.
Okay, makes sense. Okay, let's talk about okay, so let's say that the grapes are picked. What are the regulations for Brunello wines?
Dopo la raccolta delle uve, quali sono le regole minime per la produzione del vino Brunello?
Allora, c'è un disciplinare di produzione che regola la produzione del Brunello. Si parte dalla quantità di uva per ettaro. Innanzitutto Sangiovese grosso, Sangiovese 100%, produzione per ettaro ad oggi 6.000 kg, raccolta quando le uve sono mature, dopo la fermentazione alcolica e la fermentazione malolattica il vino deve stare obbligatoriamente per almeno 24 mesi in botte e minimo 4 mesi di affinamento in bottiglia prima della commercializzazione, che comunque non può avvenire prima di 5 anni dalla vendemmia.
So of course the harvest must be the yield, maximum yield per hectare must be 6,000 kilos of grape for each hectare.
Okay.
And after the harvest and the alcoholic and malolactic fermentations, the wine has to age for a minimum time of 24 months in oak barrels.
Okay.
And then for a minimum in the bottle for 4 months. Minimum time is 4 months. But the wine cannot be marketed before 5 years from the harvest, starting with the year of the harvest.
And what does Tenuta Il Poggione exceed those limitations? Do you bottle age longer or oak age longer?
La Tenuta Il Poggione va oltre questi limiti, sia in termini di invecchiamento in legno che in termini di affinamento in bottiglia.
Sì, allora noi ci siamo dati un codice di regolamentazione interno e abbiamo spostato il periodo di affinamento in botte per il Brunello ad almeno 30 mesi per l'annata e ad almeno 40 mesi per la tipologia riserva vigna e paganelli. E facciamo anche un affinamento in bottiglia più lungo rispetto ai 4 mesi obbligatori.
So we give ourselves stricter rules than what's required by law for the Brunello. So we are doing, for the regular Brunello, we do at least 30 months in oak barrels.
Okay.
For the Brunello Riserva, we do at least 40 months in barrels. And we also do a longer bottle aging than what's required by the regulations.
Questo c'è sempre una ragione, non per voler essere i primi della classe o quelli diversi, ma perché abbiamo visto che i nostri vini, essendo molto strutturati, molto tannici, hanno bisogno di un periodo di affinamento in legno più lungo rispetto al tradizionale. Non solo, ma negli anni abbiamo visto che l'utilizzo della botte grande, come abbiamo sempre fatto per rispettare la tradizione e la tipicità, abbiamo anche cambiato la tipologia del legno iniziando a usare rovere di Allier francese al posto del rovere di Slavonia che utilizzavamo.
And we have this choice to have longer agings, not because we are trying to be better than the other producers, just because we noticed that as our wines are particularly full-bodied and rich in tannins, they require a longer aging in oak barrels. And also the choice of the barrels. In the years, we, of course, we still use large barrels that are 5,000 liters in size.
Yeah.
And we moved from the oak from Slavonia that we used to have in the past to 100% French oak from Allier.
Oh. And Allier is a tighter grain oak?
Il legno di Allier è un legno con una grana più fine e più stretta.
Una grana più fine che dà un tannino più vellutato, più setoso, meno tannico e astringente. Secondo noi, almeno per il nostro Sangiovese da Brunello, è migliore.
It is an oak with a finer grain that provides tannins that are more velvety and silkier, and of course less astringent tannins.
Yes, okay.
And so those are ideal for our Brunello.
So your father is a traditionalist, but he is also one of the appellation's most progressive voices. In the couple minutes we have left, can I ask him his opinions about how global warming is affecting growing grapes in Brunello, and what is his proposition?
So che comunque sei una un produttore tradizionalista, ma sei anche una delle voci più progressiste, in genere aperto alle novità. Qual è il tuo punto di vista sul riscaldamento globale e quali sono le proposte che fai in questo senso?
Allora, il problema del riscaldamento globale è un problema grande che non interessa solo il comprensorio di Montalcino. Vivo questa azienda dal 1976 e in questi 38 vendemmie ho visto un cambiamento climatico importante. Iniziavamo a raccogliere le uve sangiovese da Brunello ai primi di ottobre e oggi si raccolgono queste uve di sangiovese ai primi di settembre. Questo per spiegare quanto ha inciso il riscaldamento globale. Il problema lo abbiamo affrontato chiedendo aiuto al Ministero dell'Agricoltura e questo proprio in questi giorni ha emesso una circolare dove è scritto che essendo cambiato il clima, venendo sempre più spesso estate calde e siccitose, le aziende che producono Brunello possono utilizzare nei loro vigneti l'irrigazione di soccorso, ma non solo.
Go ahead, Alessandro. Go ahead and give us a translation.
Absolutely, yes. There is a big problem. The global warming is a big problem, and not only for the region of Montalcino. My father has been at the winery since 1976, and has seen a tremendous change, especially with the time of the harvest. We used to harvest in October, and now we're starting to harvest the beginning of September.
Wow!
And this issue has been faced by asking, for support to the Ministry of Agriculture. Which has just released a memo where they say that it is allowed for Montalcino producers to use emergency irrigations in a situation of particularly severe drought.
Okay.
So that's just recently has just been issued by the Ministry of Agriculture.
Yeah, we're talking really current.
Yes,
dall'altra parte il buon agricoltore, perché non dimentichiamoci che i grandi vini rossi per l'80% si fanno in vigna, non in cantina, deve affrontare la gestione del vigneto in maniera diversa rispetto al passato.
And on the other hand, the good farmer, as the great red wines are made for the majority in the vineyard, has to manage the vineyard in different ways compared to the past.
Sì.
Yeah, makes sense. Well, I would like to thank you both, Fabrizio Bindocci, Director and Winemaker for Tenuta Il Poggione and President of the Consorzio del Vino Brunello del Montalcino, and a son, Alessandro Bindocci, Winemaker and Export Manager. It's been our huge pleasure meeting you today on Wine and Dine.
Vorrei ringraziare, è stato un grosso piacere per Wine and Dine di ospitarci a questa intervista.
Bene, ringraziamo anche noi e speriamo, se ci sarà necessità, saremo a disposizione in un prossimo futuro per altre interviste. Grazie a lei e grazie ai radioascoltatori che ci ascoltano.
We thank you for the hospitality. Of course, we are looking forward of talking again with you with our wines, and thank you also to your listeners.
Now you can listen to Wine and Dine Radio while shopping at the grocery store or your neighborhood wine merchant. Wine and Dine Radio can be heard using your wireless internet on your cell phone. You're listening to iWineRadio. iWineRadio is a production of Food Tastes Better with Wine, on the web at iWineRadio.com. Hey guys, I thank you for listening to iWine Radio, and we are still the only wine channel on iTunes Radio. If you go look under iTunes Radio icon and scroll down to News and Talk Directory, and it's listed alphabetically, click on that and the stream comes up immediately. iWineRadio.com, where you can find links to individual guests. And if anyone's interested in advertising or becoming an underwriter or sponsor, please contact us at iWineRadio.com. We really, really appreciate your support. The more support we get, the more conversations I can have with fascinating people around the world, including you. If you have a story to tell that you'd like to share on iWine Radio, go to iWineRadio.com and contact us, and we'll go from there.